The new normal has pushed businesses of all statures to accelerate digital transformation, in which cloud computing plays an immensely crucial role. Presenting the Economic Times Cloud Strategy Summit, an episode featuring key leaders from industry giants like Accenture and Microsoft, along with vital highlights of the virtual event featuring critical discussions and deliberations about major developments in the cloud computing landscape.
It is indeed our honor as we are joined by our chief guest, Shri Amitabh Kanji, Chief Executive Officer, Niti Aayog. We look forward to learning from you, sir.
I'm truly delighted to address you today at the Economic Times Cloud Strategy Virtual Summit. India has never been more connected than it is today, thanks to the internet, cloud-powered technologies that have become ubiquitous. These solutions have been radically transforming our systems and processes, completely revolutionizing governance and helping us realize the vision of a dynamic new India. India's systematic approach to digital transformation is allowing us to successfully embrace a culture of innovation that is focused on constant improvement. Indeed, these digital innovation solutions will propel us into the future. Let's look at the digital innovation ecosystem. The availability of affordable digital infrastructure and their scalability have been the key drivers of digital transformation. With easy access to the internet, to smartphones and cellular data plans, India has become a data-rich country with a digital ecosystem that is perpetually generating a sizable digital footprint. The presence of robust infrastructure in the form of optical fiber cable network, access to mobile and broadband connectivity, and e-governance services is an integral part of the process of India's digital transformation. India can potentially create up to $1 trillion of economic value from the digital economy by 2025, with half of the opportunity originating in new digital ecosystems that can spring up in diverse sectors of the economy. If digital technologies and innovations are strategically approached, we can unlock productivity, savings, and efficiency across a host of sectors such as agriculture, education, energy, financial services, government services, healthcare, logistics, manufacturing, trade, and transport. These innovations will not only transform public services for citizens, but will propel us to greater heights of progress. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a great pleasure participating in this program.
As we get all set for a very special address, the changing digital innovation systems in India, and we are being joined by none other than Dr. Neeta Verma, Director General, National Informatics Center, Government of India.
ICT infrastructure on demand for government is one of the core activity for us at NIC, be it network, internet access, data centers, cloud, video conferencing, or messaging. We provide these services to government through our 800 offices pan India, right from central government to state government to district administration. During lockdown, due to pandemic, technology was at the core for all of us in all walks of life. Same was the situation in government functioning. The fact we could support this growth and new demand seamlessly, primarily because most of these systems are powered by our own cloud setup across our data centers pan India. Today, cloud is at the core of digital transformation in government, and therefore it is an important component of our ICT infrastructure strategy. We also are cognizant of the fact with the pace at which digital transformation is growing in government, we may perhaps need much more capacity than what we may have. And to augment and recognizing that we have pretty good cloud infrastructure available in the country from the private sector, we also empaneled cloud service providers to provide services to the government. And with this, I think cloud is truly available on demand with all kind of value-add services to government departments, and I look forward to see a lot of innovation and a lot of proliferation. Thank you.
As we get all set for our keynote address, Building Resilience with Cloud and AI, it's an absolute pleasure as we have with us Ms. Irina Ghosh, Executive Director, Cloud Solutions, Microsoft India.
During this current global economic climate, The biggest learning is that no business is immune to crisis, but it also showed off that businesses which have built any level of digital capabilities or any level of digital in their overall way of functioning, they were able to kind of pivot to the changing needs in a much, much quicker manner. We continue to see that cloud is delivering a lot of tangible benefits. Azure, for example, enabled our customers to move much faster and do a lot more innovations within the realm of what they were operating on. The pandemic has actually accelerated two mega trends. The first is cloud-led data and AI innovation. In India, we have a huge opportunity to position ourselves as a global hub for data and AI, which could enable investment, jobs, innovation, and a lot more in the country. We are very, very bullish about this. The second is the absolute need that we create a trusted and secure ecosystem of what brings across this entire cloud infrastructure to drive innovation. And we have a big role and a responsibility to play here. Our purpose is clear. It's our mission for every industry in every country that we remain committed to empowering every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Thank you so much for listening in.
COVID-19 impact has been an inflection point for cloud adoption. Cloud adoption certainly plays a very key role in improving overall sustainability of IT. One of the major factors is the energy mix that powers our enterprise IT equipment that we see in a lot of the enterprises. Global cloud service providers have adopted aggressive goals to eliminate, to offset a lot of these emissions from their operations. And a lot of the other elements that are there is also about scale. It plays a very helpful role. Now, when you consolidate IT into large physical locations such as hyperscale data centers, allows for engineering advantages in cooling, power distribution, compute power of the servers, and that essentially helps you reduce the carbon footprint. Our research among 87% of business executives who actually look at cloud as a critical enabler to achieving their enterprise sustainability goals. And what we have seen by pursuing the green approach is Accenture analysis suggests that migrations to public cloud can reduce global carbon CO2 emissions by 59 million tons of CO2 per year. This 59 million tons is equivalent to 5.9% reduction in the total IT emissions, and it equates to about 22 million cars that is off the road. This magnitude of reduction can go a long way in meeting climate changes, particularly for data-intensive businesses that we have. At Accenture, we practice what we preach. Today, we run a full 95% of our applications on the cloud. In fact, by 2025, Accenture is committed to net zero emissions and net zero waste and plan for water risk as well. If we start reducing a lot of the data duplication, improving efficiency of coding, architecting applications with resource efficiency in mind, we can really achieve sustainability and cost savings in the cloud. It requires human ingenuity. It requires the entire workforce reimagined, developing new skills, specializations, new ways of working as a digital fluent, I would say cloud-enabled workforce. And at Accenture itself, we have used the cloud to host and track millions of skills across data points for our 500,000 plus workforce for data-related approach to identify and building proximal skills, and again, guided by our talent forecast. And we're also deeply invested in the culture of continuous learning, that empowers our people to advance their cloud skills. And we've also launched a program around Cloud Elevate, and we are hiring some of the best cloud professionals to work on some of the very complex, I would say, problems that our clients have and challenges that they are enduring. And we're supporting that with some of the best talent in the world.
Thank you so very much for tuning in for our panel discussion on turning data into dollars. And we've got experts joining in, sharing their views and their experiences. Let me now hand over to Mr. Arora to take the proceedings further. Sir, all yours.
How has cloud been able to be an enabler for you, Mr. Baju?
Sure. So we use very simple. We have core insurance, like every insurance. We have core insurance systems, and we ship the real-time data to the cloud, and we use predominantly Azure cloud. We use data, data factories to ship the information in real time to cloud, and we really store all these informations, and then our the data team, curation team, actually curate this information and store necessary places for the specific use cases. But we, to solve the business cases, we curate them in the cloud, and we predominantly use Azure stacks fully.
Aparna, why is agility in operations and business models becoming imperative, and how is data analytics coupled with AI and enabling intelligence alongside agility and resilience meeting the ROI is important?
I think agility had already started to become, all pervasive across industries, even before COVID hit, right? And I think COVID just kind of accelerated that whole thing, and the ability of organizations to kind of respond, recover, and reimagine. I would say the data AI piece is actually an enabler, right? Because end of the day, it is about, how can you predict or anticipate things? How do you minimize risk? Couple of things that resonated very well, right? A, it's a journey. There is no instant fix. Right? B, at the end of the day, there's a problem you're trying to solve, or there is a ROI that you are looking to get. And then, how do you actually navigate through that? So end of the day, if you're able to mitigate risk, you're able to optimize your efficiency, you are enabling to go digital as much as possible. Those are some of the things that have been a part of the journey, as we talk to our customers. Coming to your specific question on the data analytics and AI, I think it really has become ranging from existential to some organizations to just being more resilient. And the foundation has been about whether an organization wants to understand the market they are in, just what's happening in the industry, what's happening with their own people. I mean, it could even be everything from hiring to wellness, even internally, right, inside their organizations, to their supply chain, which is like almost like a bread and butter for most businesses. So it has been pervasive across the board. And if I just reflect back, I think some key ingredients that we see as a pattern, I think one is just how comprehensive and connected your data sets are, right? So whether it is structured data, unstructured data, very real-time data from IoT-enabled devices to maybe something that's sitting in your archive over the years, just intelligence you have kind of collected over a period, and how are you meaningfully able to put it all together to derive insights in a timely manner, and such that you can act upon it, right? Because that's when it actually gives you the ROI. And again, end of the day, if you're making a business connect to all this investment that you did, that's when the rubber hits the road.
Mayuresh, benefits of moving to the cloud.
In Marico, what we have started doing is for a few years now, we are already on the multi-cloud, and multi-cloud is the way for us for the reduction in cost, agility, and every cloud has a different the USP, and we need to identify that as a customer. So we have actually targeted some of those low-hanging area fruits that we can actually pick up from each cloud provider. I need some VMs or some workloads on Microsoft ecosystem. I have Azure. If I need something open source, I have IBM. I need something on analytics, I have Microsoft and Google. So in that way, we have created that ecosystem for that agility, and at the same time, saving some cost.
Mr. Sanjay, what have been the various business use cases that you have tackled with the help of machine learning and AI?
So Sachin, construction being a project organization, it has its own different challenges. I mean, there are at a given time, there might be 1,000 active projects going on. And the challenge here is with respect to how do we execute the plan and execute the project. So what was happening that getting the similar activity from project A to project B, right now I'm doing excavation and a different kind of soil, how to make sure that we are trying to standardize that across the organization. That was a super big challenge because nobody knew whether I am paying the right amount for the same kind of work being done from the project A to project B. And we had a massive amount of data. Apart from that, there are huge efforts we have taken under the man, machine, and material to make sure all our assets are connected across the project sites. We are getting the data. We are finding out the productivity. We are seeing what is the best way to make sure that they are being utilized for safety of the workmen across the project sites by seeing the data and the trend in the past.
There's a lot more happening for this session on Spotlight session Adopt Cloud and Build a Responsible Business. Here we go.
Kishore, for companies beginning their cloud journey, confront a number of questions. What, according to you, are some of the key considerations for a business to move to the cloud in the new world order?
The COVID-19, Ashwini, has turned cloud from an aspiration to an urgent mandate. Now, I'll explain in very simple terms what are the key drivers that is actually causing our clients, and what are they actually keen to benefit from this. One of the things that they are very keen in very simple terms is financial efficiency, which is essentially just shift from a data center to cloud for hosting. Cost savings is up to 40%. The second element, which is in a simple term, is speed and agility. The third driver would be around business transformation, Ashwini, which is again, entering new markets, accelerating innovation, you're opening new channels. And then the fourth one is around the talent renaissance, I would say, because what has happened is it has systematically changed how you look at talent within the firm. So a lot of these drivers are causing clients to pick up in different parts of the spectrum where they invest in, Ashwini.
Pasha, will cloud migrations also unlock new opportunities like green energy transitions? How do you see its role in driving green IT initiatives?
It's actually a really fascinating opportunity here because as we see more and more companies adopt the cloud and move from their kind of organically grown IT infrastructure, right, the one that may reside in an IT closet inside of the building or a smaller data center or a leased data center, you kind of have this spread out IT landscape. And when you're consolidating that offers fundamental advantages of centralization. And from there, you have advantages of scale. So you have ability to have higher efficiency compute infrastructure. You have ability to deploy really kind of top of the line engineering to improve things like cooling efficiency, for example, which drives down the power utilization. And power is a fundamental component of emissions that come from data centers and IT in general. So it's definitely, I would recommend taking a look at how we power infrastructure, how we consolidate it, and where we host it.
What role does sustainability play in cloud, and how can organizations use cloud to build a responsible business?
Actually, the research that Kishore and I have done over the last couple of years shows that just by migrating to cloud, right, you're getting almost 80 to 90% benefit to your sustainability. The second part is that once you're in the cloud, we hope that businesses will use that power to do something that's sustainable and responsible for their products and services themselves. So if you are a business that creates physical goods, you are able to then look at, for example, how much water went into growing cotton, how much energy went into processing that cotton into textile, or how many miles and what type of fuel was used to transport that finished good to the storefront or maybe even to the end customer. You're able to trace that information through the entire life cycle of the product. That's feasible only with secure and trusted way to exchange information. It's also private. That's really possible in the cloud. Right. In addition to kind of tangible benefits to individual companies, we're seeing governments and private sector really come together on public goods. For example, ability to predict major flooding events up to 3 days in advance. It's feasible to do that in the cloud at massive scale, but not as feasible with on-premise IT infrastructure. That types of use cases are a prime example of how cloud can help businesses utilize that newfound power to make their business sustainable and responsible.
Now, what we are seeing today is that post the pandemic, there are areas where the adoption of AI has really accelerated as part of the way in which organizations are responding, recovering, and reimagining how they're going to function in the world going forward. So you see things like selling and delivery, which is contactless. Manufacturing in office locations are using artificial intelligence and data to help them enforce best practices on a health and safety perspective. You're seeing more adoption of digital assistants. So the idea is that clearly the way in which data is going to be used is going to create that resilience for organizations in the way they think about their businesses. And the cloud allows agility because you are able to adopt technologies, you are able to experiment with new algorithms, new innovations without having to build everything in-house. The friction for large organizations and small organizations is greatly reduced. So that's how you are seeing data, AI, and cloud really enable the agility and resilience, and will continue to do so as we move forward. Now, the question that we have to think about in India is that while the acceleration is there in terms of adoption of AI, proof of concepts, and experimentation, the country needs to think very strategically about how we will apply artificial intelligence at scale. That needs thinking strategically about your AI roadmap, your data estate, and the cloud. Because only when you adopt the public cloud at the hyperscale level can you think about scaling and, as to my earlier comment, about adoption of innovations. The second element I would say is that of culture. At the end of the day, an organization has to adopt AI in the way in which they work across their functions, across industries. And that creates the need to be culturally open to being a data-driven organization across the board, from the board level to the linemen on the factory floor. And the third, I would say, applying AI at scale needs one to think about ethics and responsibility of AI, because when that is thought about from the design point itself is when one is able to trust AI and one is able to apply at scale. So this is very much needed beyond the trials and proof of concepts we are seeing, because the billion-dollar, $500 billion prize is going to really materialize only when you are able to apply AI at scale across industries.
The SMBs, must become digital enterprises for their future growth and the success. This is known globally that the cloud migration is actually a stepping stone towards the digital transformation. With AWS cloud best practices and the right provisioning of resources and services, we have seen a lot of our customers taking cost benefits up to 40-50% over the years. So the key here is continuous optimization for cost and performance. With SMBs, especially when they come on cloud, it is very important to understand the cloud way of working rather than following the conventional data center methods. So that's where we really help our customers and do the hand-holding and provide them the benefits. How can they take the advantage of things like auto scaling, right provisioning, so that they don't over provision their environment. They can take advantage of on-demand utilization of resources, and at the same time they can take the advantage of pricing offers which are available on cloud.
Most enterprises are adopting hybrid multi-cloud IT strategy to leverage the flexibility and cost efficiency of cloud and third-party data centers. GPX, which is one of the world's top 10 most interconnected edge data center, is enabling enterprises in India in their digital journey. We have over 8 cloud service providers and a cloud exchange in our campus. Enterprises can leverage the flexibility to access multiple cloud service providers on a single port on cloud exchange with higher security and network cost savings. GPX is also the only data center in India with 5 internet exchanges and over 150 ISPs. Enterprises can leverage these IXs to have improved connectivity to their customers, but also to their employees who are working from home, and also save on network costs.